My research methods are historical, and you worry that your research, isn't so relevant or isn't so interesting to people who, want things now and they're looking forwards. But actually, context is incredibly important, and I think that's what humanities students, particularly historians, can bring in to policy research and the creation of policy briefs and investigations and things. Because without that wider context and that analytical ability to examine context and make it relevant to current questions, then lessons aren't learned. And what is the point of kind of policy briefs in the first place if it's not to learn lessons and make things change in the future? And that's becoming increasingly recognised in the sector, which is why there is a lot more engagement with historical pieces. So if you are a humanities student, then play that card, bring that to the fore of your kind of research profile, as it were.
Where I've seen the real advantages of arts and humanities is really bringing a different way of looking at policy topics. So I'm a political scientist, but I've worked with some design academics in the past, and seeing how they see the policy process, how they think about redesigning some of the policy process has been really valuable for me, just to give a different take on what I've read about for a long time. And I think that's the same for policymakers. I think being able to show a different way of looking at a problem that's been maybe quite intractable for a long time sometimes just helps move things along. And being able to look at the history of a particular policy, or a real ethnographic look at how service users interact with a particular service. I think these are all incredibly valuable things.
I think as well, something that humanities students can offer is a flexibility and adaptability to research methods and styles. So you can look at data and analyse it, perhaps not in such a kind of rigorous statistical way, but look at what it means in terms of wider context. But then you can also offer things like interview experience or oral history interviewing, for example, a strength in gathering qualitative research or analysing a variety of different sources. I think that's something that really characterises humanities students. It's incredibly useful in this field. I think early career researchers tend to undervalue themselves, actually, and tend to underestimate what they can offer, because I think there's a flexibility that early career researchers can bring, because typically you're working through your doctoral research as well as balancing other research interests. You've only just come from a master's where you've engaged with a whole load of different topics. So you're not a seasoned expert 50 years down the line who's looked at one particular topic, so people would only go to you for that. And the ability to adapt writing styles as well, I think, is something that's very evident in early career researchers, because you are engaging through your studies in writing like reports or academic essays or think pieces or whatever. You're already undertaking all of those very different writing styles. So yeah, those things are really beneficial.